here in the Insider Circle. He says, "Hello, John. Happy to be part of the Insider Circle again. I hope all is well for you and your family. After listening to your list your last podcast, which was great as always, I'm trying to set up an LTO during these lockdown times. My goal doing this LTO is to get more people to sign up to my Patreon page and become new subscribers. It starts at $4 a month. I was first thinking of doing an LTO where I send them a free signed copy of my last CD in exchange for that subscription. However, since all my gigs have been canceled until further notice, I don't have much disposable income right now to pay for free postage. So I'm looking for other ideas of valuable things to give away. Any suggestions? An exclusive online concert, a digital copy of that last album, but it doesn't seem a digital copy of that last album, but it doesn't seem as exciting. Exclusive online concert. Really, yeah. I mean, I don't know your content, and I don't know what your audience is going to care about. But yeah, I think a bonus is certainly something that you can do. I mean, you can mine your archives. You have old tracks that you haven't released that are good that your audience might dig. If they have if they're going to back you on Patreon, there's a good chance they have your last album. So that's not the strongest way to go, but if it's all you can do, it's all you can do. I mean, you can record an interview album where you talk about the meaning behind all your songs. You could record a live acoustic album just using whatever you've got on your computer as recording software and a microphone. You could put together something. I like the idea of an acoustic album because you can do it in a day. And give it a name, give it some artwork, and make it available to everyone who signs up on Patreon within, the next 4 days, something along those lines. The one thing I would say is that the emergency LTO is really about doing this whopping huge discount. It's the 50% discount with a ton of stuff. What you're doing is in principle very, very similar and should still work. It's just not quite the same thing. It's more of a standard LTO as opposed to an emergency LTO. But if it's all you can do, it's all you can do, and you should do it. I think the extra day will help. Let's see. You could even put out a teaser email the week before, letting people know it's coming. So to talk about the free acoustic album or whatever it is that you're going to be giving to everyone. And you could put out a post about how you just finished it, got artwork. You can, just create a blog post that was genuinely interesting and maybe prompted engagement. What should I name the album? Something like that. Or I want to cover a song. Is there anything you want to hear? Do whatever you can to get people engaged with it. But more importantly, what you're trying to do is just let them know it's coming, so that when the LTO hits, it's not out of the blue. I don't normally do that with an emergency LTO, but because you don't have the whopping huge discount here, then I think something like that might be a good idea. Hopefully that answers your question. Good luck, and when you do it, get in touch. Let me know how it goes. I'm hoping that it generates a lot of money for you. All right. Question just a comment from Cliff in Montreal. Straight up advice, John, as always. Thanks. My pleasure, Cliff. Thanks for being here. Mateo in London says, "Hi, John. I wish that you are well and great works as always. I am MMM member since 3.0 and have followed your course through until almost the end of it. I have 2 videos live in studio that I recently filmed with my project and 3 EPs containing 4 songs each. We are planning to release one video with the singles performance. The album version is going to be free in exchange for people's email, and then promote the first EP for sale via our website. What suggestion would you have for an artist that has a newly live in-studio video of the single and the album version of that same single, which is part of a 4-track EP? We are thinking of getting started with a social campaign to convey traffic to our .com website, but most importantly, collect emails and send them to the funnel. Do you think a funnel should be aggressive or more relaxed?" I think aggressive, frankly. The harder you hit, the more you ask for people to sell. Ask people to buy stuff, the more they will buy stuff. The more you'll turn some people off, but typically those people that get turned off are people that probably were not going to buy anyway. It's rare that I see a customer unsubscribe from one of my lists, but the people that never bought anything have all kinds of things to say when they do. You could argue that those people might have become customers. I don't agree with that. Part of the funnel's job is to narrow down that audience, to isolate those people that are going to buy while increasing the pressure on them to actually buy. So I don't think you want to be too relaxed. And what I would do with a video like that, a live video of one of the songs on the album, I would use it within the funnel. Typically within a funnel or even an album release campaign, first there's a blog post that goes out to sort of establish the narrative, establish the USP. Then a few days later, there's another blog post that goes out to get people better acquainted with the music. So first it's get them acquainted with you, then it's get them acquainted with the music. And this is a great place for a music video. If you've got a live video, that could certainly go there. You could also take that video and post it on YouTube and Facebook and retarget your warm audience. And in that post, have a link that takes them to the sales page. So you could certainly try something like that. And hey, you could even try an ad and see how it does. Video doesn't usually do better than a still image does, but it sometimes does. So, you could repurpose it in a lot of different ways. But the biggest value that I immediately see with something like that is using it within the funnel and then sharing it with an existing audience by retargeting them. So actually, instead of just retargeting the video on Facebook, you could actually retarget your warm audience and run that warm audience through the album release funnel. In fact, what am I talking about? You should be doing that. So that's how I would use it, just within the funnel. If it's an album release, then it's not so much a funnel; it's an album release campaign, and you want to be driving the warm audience to that post as well as everybody on your list. All right. So I've got a few more questions that have come in. I'm neurotic. I like to get answers to everybody's questions because you guys took the time, so it's the least I can do. Let's see, where was this? So Sam in Poland followed up saying, thanks, and you're bang on about Polish culture. Okay, I'm going to jump in the deep end. Awesome. I was really worried that my words would be offensive. I'm glad that they weren't. I would love to know what that saying is, if that even made sense, whatever that driver told me while I was there about how, in the States they say, hey, how's it going? And everybody answers great as a knee-jerk response. Whatever that he made it seem as though it was a common thing to just kind of say when you saw somebody, like, hey, how's it going? Oh, I'm terrible. But I would love to know what that is, because I've sort of butchered my way through that story so many times. I'd love to get my details correct. If you know them, please let me know. And Jojo followed up saying, thanks so much for answering my question. That was very helpful. Great. Glad I could help. And let's see, we got 3 more questions. Do we have any hands raised? One hand raised from, I've got caller ID here. It looks like it's Matteo in London. Matteo, you are on the call. How's it going? Matteo, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey, John. You okay?
Hey, how's it going? How are you?
I'm good, man. But you just read my question, so I think that's good enough.
Okay, so you're good. Nothing else we can help with?
That's pretty much it. I'm just figuring out how to introduce my audience to this new video, which I'm planning to include with the album version of the single. And just because of that, I've been planning to get these subscribers. But anyway, I'm just trying to figure out the way this can happen in the smoothest way, essentially. So I think your idea of including the video in the funnel it's a good thing. Although I still don't have enough subscribers. This is my problem.
Right. I see. Well, there's 2 things, and I unfortunately use the terms a little interchangeably. There's the funnel, which is the automated thing, and you can use the funnel to get new subscribers. And then there's an album release campaign, which is similar to a funnel, but typically spread out a little more, and it happens in real time.
Yes,
What's that?
Sorry,
I'm sorry?
It's exactly what I'm looking for, because it's actually an album release. It's an EP release. So all I'm
gotcha.
Yes, so all it's going to be is exactly that, promotion of an album, basically. Yes, it's an EP, but it's basically that. So yes.
Cool. Well, in the Insider Circle members area, there's a course called or a mini course or training lesson called Record Release Formula Lite. So I put out a big whopper of a course years ago called Record Release Formula. I did a sort of quick summary of that, sort of an hour quick run through of what I recommend when releasing an album. So you might check that out, and hopefully that'll kind of give you a broader understanding. And in that, I do talk about using a music video. So hopefully that'll clear up anything that might still be a little bit murky after my answer.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for being on the call. All right, so going to jump through these last remaining questions here, and then we're going to wrap. This is the longest call we've had in a while, but it's fun. Hopefully it's not too fatiguing for you guys. We've got a question from Pamela in Cincinnati. She says, when setting up audiences in Ads Manager, are the audience sizes we're looking at by interest based only on Facebook, or are they including Instagram numbers too, which can be different? That is a good question. So it should be, and I don't actually know I don't know the answer confidently enough to say that I know it as a fact, but what it should be is based on the, the placements that you've selected. So you should see when you select just Facebook, that number go down or up, and when you select just Instagram, it should fluctuate based on that, but I've never actually stopped to look, so I don't know. And with every other aspect of that number that you see, it has to do with your settings. So if you go and you change your demographic information, for example, you go from 18 and up and you change it to just 25 to 30, then you'll see the audience size shrink. And so I'm expecting that when you deselect Instagram, the audience, for example, the audience size should shrink. But as I say, I've just never tried it, so I can't say that too confidently. If it doesn't, it would be weird and a flaw on Facebook's part. So it should be based just on your placements. So when you select, for example, partner sites and things like that, the network that they have there, and the other placements, when you deselect them, your audience size should go down. Now that I'm saying that, I have done that. I usually leave Facebook and Instagram as the thing, and I remove the others. And unless I'm crazy, I have seen my audience size go down when I do that. I usually just go and do it and then check out the audience size. So I haven't actually done it. It's a good question. Now I'm going to have to do it, but it should be based on your placement. And if it's not, then we'll talk about it again. I don't know, bring it up in a future call or in the forum, and we'll dig into it. But it should be based on placement. All right. 2 more questions in the queue. So again, if you're here, last call for questions, last chance to raise your hand if you want me to open up your phone lines or your device line, your device mic, or get those questions in once we get through these last 2 questions. If there are nothing more, we will wrap up. So this comes from Pat in Upland. He says, is there a way to find out when these calls are happening with more than 30 minutes notice? With the changing times, I tend to miss these. Absolutely. I post them a week in advance. You just go to the coaching call tab at any given time, and you should see the next call. The only time where you don't see next week's call is a few hours between when the event starts and when it doesn't. But they're pretty much always Wednesdays at noon. The problem with, I could send out more emails, but then people get kind of fatigued from all the emails because there's always so much content going out. I don't want to email you guys too much. So I send it, and if I send it out 6 hours in advance, then people tend to get busy with their days and forget. So I send it out 30 minutes beforehand, and that tends to be the sweet spot. I do change that up. Sometimes I send it out right as we're starting. Sometimes I send it out an hour in advance. Every once in a while, if I haven't emailed too much, I'll send out an advance notice. But it's pretty much always Wednesday at noon Pacific. You can go and use your calendar if you use Google Calendar or whatever you use. Set up a recurring event for Wednesday at noon Pacific and set up, reminders. You probably already have them set up in your calendar, and you'll get those notices. But occasionally, if I'm traveling or I'm ill or something like that, I'll change it. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've changed one without much warning anyway. But if I do change something, I'll usually send out a notice letting people know in advance. But you can always find them posted there in the members area under the coaching call tab. So sorry you've missed them. Hopefully that sorts you out. So this comes from, and as of now, this is our last question. This comes from, is it Prenell, I think, in Los Angeles. He says, Hi, so I was a producer years ago, and I'm getting back into music making. I'm actually what they call a looper now, using things like the Boss 505 sampler / looper and digital turntable, etc. That being said, I'm basically new all over again with no fans. What advice can you give me in building my fan base now, even while I'm honing my new skills? Thanks. So it again depends on budget, but I believe everybody should be spending some money on ads at the very least as an investment in their career, even if it's $1 a day. But try to get it up to about $5 a day. I think you should be focused on building your list and creating value for your audience. So if I was in your shoes, I would create some track that I could give away. I would set up a squeeze page and give that away. I would really do some work on brand building, developing my USP. Again, we talked about that earlier. There's a lesson on developing your USP here. Figure out, really get strong with who you are, what is unique about what you do. And by getting clear on your USP, everything else should fall into place. Everything from the clothes you wear to the fonts you use on your site, everything you should know. That USP should guide you. Is that font consistent with your USP? If it's not, then don't use it. And if it is, then you've made the right choice. Then go and start building an audience using social media, Facebook and Instagram. Turn on ads. Spread the ads out over probably both platforms, Facebook and Instagram, and then go and put out some content, so first start by posting a link to where they can get the free track, promote it, spend some money on ads, driving people into the funnel, and then keep on posting at least once a week. Post something on social, send something. You don't need to necessarily email your list once a week, but it would be a good habit to get into. Just be creating. Realize that the new job of the modern musician is to be a channel. You're not just a music. It is a music channel. It is a music channel all about you, the artist, the creator of that music, but it is a channel. We need to get people to find our channel entertaining enough to watch. And it helps me anyway if I think about it like a TV channel or a YouTube channel, because we all have that experience of subscribing to channels or following people. If it's boring content, we unsubscribe. We don't care. If it's entertaining, we love it. We can't get enough of it. We back them on Patreon to get a little bit extra. And that has to be there. You have to be, as Seth Godin says, you have to be remarkable. There is no shortcutting that. If your channel is not interesting, then you're toast. If you're not remarkable, if there's not something unique about what it is that you offer, the experience you offer, then you're toast. So start cultivating that and building relationships. When somebody likes a post, go through all those posts, your ads, invite everybody to like the page. If you want to get really geeky about it, if you've got more time than money, every time somebody accepts an invitation, have a copy and paste message ready to go. And when they like your page, just say, hey, I saw that you recently, or just like my page, you set up notifications so you get that email. I just wanted to say thanks for following me and welcome me to my world and all it is that I do. Here's a link for some free music. Really, everything I've done, I put it all into caring for people. MMM was built on that. I geek out on customer service and spending time with people and building those relationships. And I think that's why I'm, by far and away the longest standing person in the space, in the direct to fan marketing space. I've been here since 2009, and very few people, no one else can say that. There are some other people that have been around that long, but not that teach what I teach. I think Ariel Hyatt's been around that long. I think she's a publicist and a friend and does a great job. And I think Bob Baker's still out there teaching some music marketing. Again, his brand is a bit different, but there are very few people, and I believe that I've survived because of the tribe that I've built, and I've built that tribe based on customer service and communicating with people and taking care of them. You can't always, as things grow, social media in particular gets neglected, but go out there and start building that community and getting people invested in you and your content. And then the selling is really easy. If people care, they're gonna. All you need to do is ask them to spend a little bit of money, and they will. That's the challenge: getting people to care, not getting people to spend money. The spending money part is easy. You're asking for so little as a musician. So I'd be working on that. Again, the USP, funneling attention towards the list, creating an engaging channel filled with engaging content, however you choose to distribute it, and communicating with people and taking care of them as best as you can. So hopefully that answers your question. We got one more that just came in from Joe in Evergreen Park. She says, John, I tried your music ads workshop from last December and tried it with a new album release. I did well with opt-ins to my email at per $1.20. Just wanted to say thanks. Awesome. I always hold my breath as I start reading this. I did what you said, and you're a dick, or as you said, it worked for you. So I'm very happy to hear that. $1.20 is a great price. Good stuff. Hopefully you were also able to generate a bunch of sales from that, because that's, you know, obviously the goal. But thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate that. All right, that is it for questions. No hands raised. Thank you, guys. This has been a long call, but it was a fun one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We meet here every Wednesday at noon, at least currently. Again, when daylight savings hits, there might be some changes to that, but that's a ways away now. So hopefully, as I said in the beginning, everybody is safe and healthy and doing well, and your families are safe and healthy, and you haven't hopefully been hit too hard by this, but I know many musicians have. Hope you dig the Insider Circle. To all you folks who are new here, it is great to have you. And until next week, hopefully I'll catch some of you in the forum.